Hey, me and Matt here. This is Killer Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. So, in this episode, we were gonna close out 2001 with Guilty as Charged, except,
We already did that.
yeah,
And must have completely forgot about that. So link at the top
so,
of the video or in the description, one or the other. Or
check
both.
it out. We're not fucking doing it again.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
already did that mistake with WCW
Halloween
Havoc.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're gonna be talking about, and I actually been wanting to do one of these pay-per-views, but we will be doing,
Alternating.
yes, All Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm gonna find the title of that eventually,
Yeah.
but yes, I found this show, and again, it seems like an invasion of like, you have your WWE, your All Japan, your CMLL
Mm-hmm.
matches,
Yeah.
and it was actually a very good show.
Yeah, like we've covered quite a bit over the years as far as like different wrestling promotions. I mean, yeah, we've covered Impact, WWE, always
AAA,
Ring of Honor, New Japan, AEW,
we'll go all the way back to AWA.
AWA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is our first time covering an event or anything to do with All Japan.
Yeah, and I remember, I gotta say, 2 decades ago at least, I can't even remember what year I started. It was obviously when YouTube happened, because where else was I gonna get wrestling? But like, I watched a lot of All Japan matches from the 80s and the 90s and the 70s even.
Yeah,
And just the growth of what it was like back then. Because in the 80s it seemed like it was very traditional. You have wrestlers coming into the ring, and you got the geisha girls with the flowers and everything.
yeah,
And then of course you go on to the 90s, it was starting to become more modern, if you will.
yeah,
You have WWF invade, if you will, in the 80s and early 90s. So, I mean, yeah, All Japan was awesome. And you look at New Japan,
yeah,
which was run by Antonio Inoki.
yes,
All Japan running by Giant Baba.
yeah. Yeah, All Japan was run by Giant Baba, and then there was, well, we had talked about, I don't know if we did a video about it, or I think we just talked about it on a Facebook Live, the All Japan's rise to prominence and, you know, where it is now. And it ultimately ended up that Giant Baba and Antonio had a falling out, and Antonio left and started up New Japan. 72.
Yeah. Yeah. And now that Antonio's gone,
Yeah.
they're probably having a few. Either they're beating the shit out of each other, or they're having a few pints of sake.
Yeah.
But this was a good, like I said, obviously this was a really good show. And you could see the different styles. You know, the obviously Japanese strong style,
Yes.
the American wrestling, if you
Yeah.
will, the lucha libre. You know, it was a very, very good show. And it started with a ceremony for Stan Hansen.
Right.
And yeah, just coming up to the ring, and he made a speech. Obviously, he had a lot of really, really good matches for, I don't even know how long it was up until that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of great matches in Japan.
Yes.
There was the one match where he took Vader's eye out, but yeah, so there's that.
And we've talked about this before. Like, it's crazy to think that you give a man that can't see very well, and
Oh yeah.
his depth perception isn't the greatest. A fucking lariat as his finisher. But I mean, he seemed to, do well with it, not really seriously injure anybody, thank God.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of interesting how you would do that. I mean, I don't know if contacts were really used by a lot of wrestlers back then, but yeah, to have somebody like that with poor eyesight
Yeah.
do something so dangerous, you have to perfect it to a certain point.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
So,
Like, figure out a way to be able to judge distance and execute a lariat, a clothesline, whatever, of some kind safely. Now, for me, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I can wear contacts. The only thing is, you do run the possibility of a contact falling out, and then
that is true, yes.
you're basically fucked because you can only see out of one eye. The other eye would be
Slice your fucking eyeball out.
blurry or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true as well. But, yes, that was the beginning of the show, so I mean, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes. And how apropos for probably one of the baddest dudes in wrestling history.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, this guy had a lot of very good matches. You talk about somebody who not only took out Leon's eyeball, I mean, he obviously put it back in,
Yeah.
broke fucking San Martino's neck.
Yeah.
That guy was really, really one of the most dangerous motherfuckers in the business. And I mean, that was a good thing for Japan because
Yeah.
they had that style.
Yeah. Like, the thing with San Martino, though, was it was an accident. Like,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I had always heard for the longest time, oh yeah, Stan Hansen gave San Martino a lariat and broke his neck. Well, no. Stan Hansen had a massive Bruno San Martino, of course. This was a much younger Stan Hansen, long blonde hair, blonde goatee,
Yeah.
and just picked San Martino up for a body slam. Didn't completely follow through with it and kind of spiked San Martino on his head and, broke his neck.
Yeah.
But,
It was very nice to honor him.
yeah.
And this, I don't even know if that, no, this wouldn't have been the last show for all Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right.
But anyways, here we go.
You! I can't do it as hard as he can. Now, would like to apologize in advance for in the event that we do butcher these names because we more than likely will. We, we'll do our best. We're not really that versed in the in Japanese names and how to properly pronounce them, but
We can only try.
yes.
Now there is a Royal Rumble match that I did not see.
Yeah. You got Dan Crowflat, I think that is, or Crowfat.
Yeah.
Darkness Dragon, Zenki Harakushi, Gran Naniwa, Kyoshiro, Suzenji, Nabukazu, Hyari, Ryuji, Hizikata, Shinobi, Stalker, Ishikawa, Susumu, Suma, Muchazuki, Taru, Yasushi Kanda and Yuto Ajima. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I'm sure that was a good match.
Right.
But I honestly didn't see it. But now we go on to the second match.
Yeah.
Kim Duck and Shigo Chimura, who defeated Yoshishi Fujiwara and Nobula Era. So, now this wasn't, I mean, you look at this set list here, and it's not in order of the matches that I've seen, but this was a good match nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good match.
yeah. And like I said before, Kim Duck and Shigo Okamura won. So, and the thing about this show as well is, didn't seem like there was any titles on the line.
Yeah.
So, now this wasn't, I mean, you look at this set list here, and it's not in order of the matches that I've seen, but this was a good match nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good match.
yeah. And like I said before, Kim Duck and Shigo Okamura won. So, and the thing about this show as well is, didn't seem like there was any titles on the line.
Yeah.
So,
Now we go on to a match with Archangel de la Muerte, Archangel of Death, and Blue Panther, legendary name,
yes, sir.
and another legendary name versus Mil Mascaras and El Hijo del Santo.
El Hijo de Santo.
Yeah.
Yes, and this was, I almost marked out because
Yeah.
12, 13 years ago is when I had CMLL on the Fight Network.
Yeah.
And it had been on the Fight Network. And I know that I'm subscribed to that channel. Unfortunately, I don't watch a lot of it, don't care.
Yeah.
But this match was a fucking good match. And you look at Blue Panther and how many years he has been in the business.
Oh yeah.
And as old as he was, he could still fucking move. Now
Yeah.
his son is in the ring and he wrestles.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Blue Panther had passed away.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this was a really good match.
Blue Panther and Men Mascaras are two of the biggest legends in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Mexican wrestling. Like, they're synonymous with Lucha Libre and CMLL and other promotions like that.
But yes, Archangel and Blue Panther ended up going over. There was a point where I believe I would probably have to watch back, but La Mascaras, that was stretched out during the match.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. This was, yeah, I mean, and I believe, you know what, one day we should do a CMLL
Yeah.
wrestling show. I mean, we've done a lot of AAA shows, so why the fuck not? But this was a classic example of another style coming into a different country, and it delivered.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Match. Alexander Atsuka and Muhammad Yan versus Masahito Kakihara and Mitsuya Nagaya, I believe I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Anyway.
Yeah, this match was interesting because it seemed like you had two different wrestlers on two different teams that looked identical, which honestly I don't really know their background, unfortunately, but I mean, this was a good match too. And again, the different styles of these wrestlers. I mean, you look at like the All Japan guys, and I don't remember seeing a lot of them when I did watch the YouTube shows.
Mm-hmm.
But well, this match was actually really good. And you had Alexander and Muhammad go over. Muhammad Young.
Yeah.
So. But now you go on to an American match.
Mm-hmm.
You have the team of Kurt Hennig, Mike Rotunda, and Barry Windham,
Mm-hmm.
who took on Johnny Smith, Jim Steele, and George Hines.
Yeah. Who would have ever thought you would have seen a team put together with Kurt Hennig, Mike Rotunda, and Barry Windham?
It was one of those things where it's like you have back in the mid 80s, and this was like the starting of music coming into wrestling. You have Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham coming out to,
Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
yeah. So that was really cool. And I mean, you have Kurt Hennig as well, and this was unfortunately 2 years before he passed on.
Yeah.
And the other guys, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember seeing wrestle.
Yeah, like the notable names in this match are, of course, Kurt, Mike, and Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Smith, Jim Steele, and George Hines.
Yeah.
They probably competed regularly in All Japan, but you know, not really being familiar with guys that competed for All Japan. You know.
Yeah. Well, I remember saying, because doing this whole thing, I remember saying Johnny Smith, I think it was him, that wrestled on Stampede Wrestling.
I think so,
So-
maybe. Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. You have Kurt and Mike do a double team, and they worked out really well. And I mean, so did Barry and Mike, obviously, from their past
Yeah.
take team,
Oh,
all
yeah.
that stuff. And how apropos is it that you have Mike marry Barry, one of Barry's sisters or whatever,
Yeah.
having his sons in the business?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Bray Wyatt had just come back, and yeah, shit, this is fucking amazing. Just to see what, hopefully they're gonna do better with him, and maybe bring back Bo Dallas. Maybe, I don't know.
Like, there has been some speculation that, I know we've talked about this before, Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas. Whether it is or not, we don't know that. Will we ever find out? Don't know. How will we find out? Again, don't really know. Only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, all they have to do is believe! Fusion Thunder Liger versus
Matsunobu
Fuchi.
Fuchi.
I don't want to say Fuki, but okay, that might be. I don't know. I actually didn't see this match.
Fuki you!
Fuki you, no fuki me.
Yeah.
Mm.
And again, Juice Thunder Liger.
Oh,
Yeah, one of the biggest names in wrestling, period.
Yes.
Because he wrestled everywhere.
Oh God. Yeah, I thought he started way back in the late 70s, but no. He was wrestling since I was born.
No, yeah,
And-
he started his career in '84.
Yeah. And so
almost 40 years.
shut up. Anyways, you have that, and then, going to WCW,
Yeah.
ECW.
ECW.
I thought he did a little stint in the late 90s in WWE, but
Yeah.
that was like something like a pseudo thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But, anyways, he did get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and yeah, very cool. And this match was, I'm pretty sure, good too. I don't know a lot about Fuchi, but I can imagine this was a good match.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't see it.
Right.
Believe me, I fucking tried.
Match with Abdullah the Butcher
Ugh.
and Giant Kimala, number 2, not Kamala.
Well,
Kimala.
actually, it was Kamala, but just a different name.
Yeah, number 2 versus Terry Funk and Atsushi Onita.
Yeah.
I
Now you want to look at this. When I was watching, and I know you saw that episode of Dark Side of the Ring, when they were talking about that Japanese promotion,
Oh yeah.
and he was definitely a part of that.
Yeah.
I think this is the guy that had to have influenced John Moxley.
No, I'm sure.
A lot of them, I'm sure a lot of them did, yeah.
Yeah.
But this guy came out, the Joan Jett and the Blackhearts Wild Thing version.
Yeah.
And, he comes out, he's basically one of the badass motherfuckers in Japanese wrestling. Coming out, he's got the leather jacket, he's got the cigarette in his mouth, and he's just looking like a complete lunatic.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you pair him up with Terry Funk, and this match was wild. And obviously, if you're gonna put Abby and Terry in the ring together,
Oh,
shit's
it's gotta be mayhem.
This match was like the blood was just a pouring.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And outside the ring, man.
Yeah, we did there's a pay-per-view one time. Can't remember what it was for, but there was I think it was a tag team match. It was Abdullah the Butcher, it was Terry Funk, it was Stan Hansen, and I can't remember the fourth. And it's like, you talking about 4 of the baddest motherfuckers in wrestling.
Ugh. And that's the thing, because you filming Kamala, that guy was already intimidating in WWF, and you bring him to Japan.
Man, and oh yeah.
He had a singlet on and everything else, but still, this was one of the most brutalest matches of this night, and obviously, you knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Fuck, yeah, Terry Funk. You have the guy with the Funk You shirt on, the white shirt, that eventually was pink.
By the blood.
You got fucking Abdullah the Butcher with his shorts or whatever tucked into his tits,
Yeah.
and with the thing on his head,
Yeah.
and then he's got to have that fork.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually Terry used the fork.
Mm-hmm.
Use the forks.
Use the fork, may the fork be with you.
This was one of the most brutalest matches of the night. Obviously, I said that already.
Yeah.
But you look at the backstage interview with Terry Funk and the tube sheet.
Onito, whatever.
Yeah.
Onita.
And it was just like, I think Japan has a lot of influence in the AEW locker room.
Oh yeah.
You look at the style of Eddie Kingston and John Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here are these guys, and you know, you could go even further with Matsuro Misawa,
Yes.
or Kenta Kobashi,
Yes.
or Yuji Nagata.
Yeah.
All those guys. They don't really have a six-pack.
No.
You could see them before matches doing shots of whatever,
Yeah.
smoke
Oh,
a
yeah.
pack a day, and still get in the ring and whoop your ass.
Oh yeah.
That is what the style was, and I'm not saying that's the best thing to do,
No.
but that's exactly what they did back in those days.
Yeah.
But regardless, Abdullah and Kamala ended up going over.
Right.
Yeah. We have this match. We've got basically, you already know, 1999 WrestleMania Brawl for All. And you have this match, you've got Mike Barton, aka Bart Gunn, versus Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match was fucking interesting.
Yeah. To say the least.
Yeah.
Like, to put a guy like Bart Gunn against a guy like Dr. Death would be like putting a Honda Civic against the NH2, the Hummer.
Yeah.
Like, you got Bart Gunn, who's your basic wrestler, catches catch can, ground base, not, you know, didn't really have very many high flying moves and that, and a very, very good wrestler.
Yeah.
And then you've got Dr. Death Steve Williams with the football background
Yeah.
and the amateur wrestling background. And again, you know, one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game. And like, you had a feeling more than likely Dr. Death is gonna whoop his ass. Like, plain and simple.
Yeah. No. Yeah, obviously. That would have been the case. I mean, we all know what happened at Brawl for All. We all know how brutal Dr. Death is. Especially, once again, when he's in Japan. But Mike went over. So, I mean, yeah, it was a good match, regardless.
Yeah. And to think this was about 4 years maybe after Brawl for All?
Yeah, yeah.
Bart getting his revenge on Dr. Death.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's too bad Butterbean wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, Butterbean was fucking it. Well, no, there was. What fucking WrestleMania was it?
That was in 99, so basically 3 years.
Butterbean versus Bart Gunn?
Yeah, that was Brawl for All. Shit.
Yeah. The match with Keiji Muto versus Taio K. K-O-K? Whatever. A-OK?
Yeah. This was an okay match. I mean, when you look at the other matches, this one was, yeah, I would say it was just alright.
Yeah.
Kichi went over. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know too much about those two.
Well, Keiji Muto, you do hear talked about a lot.
Alright.
But,
Yeah, you do, actually.
yeah. Don't know, like, I didn't really watch anything of his, but, like, you know, he is referenced quite a, well, has been referenced quite a fair bit, so I mean,
Yeah.
he is a well-known name around the wrestling business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we have our last match. We've got Jinchiro Tiru and Hiroshi Haas versus,
I'll see.
yeah, Ishikawa and Kensuke Tyro. Something like, yeah. I basically just gave up. Yeah, obviously, I know about Sasaki, and I mean, this was actually a good match too. And I mean, those two actually one of the best take teams in this match. Like, I think that Toshiki, I'm pretty sure I've seen before. I definitely heard of Kensuke Suzuka, but yeah, I mean, it's something that I should have rewatched because, again, I don't remember too much of this match.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, this was probably, I know, unlike the last match, I kind of actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think that trying to rewatch it, again, I thought it was just going to be highlights.
Right.
I mean, the last bit of the video was highlights, and then
Yeah.
Jino, Kiro, and Hiroshi won.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, all around this was a good pay-per-view. I know we didn't do it justice,
Yeah.
but when did we ever do whatever?
Yeah.
But again, a bunch of different styles, you know, Japan, Mexico, America, you know, there's a bunch of cool things. And then of course you had the beginning with Stan Hansen.
Yeah.
Had Terry Funk do a speech after his match, right before the backstage interview with him and
Atsushi Onita.
yeah. Yeah, again, two very badass motherfuckers I want to see more of. And we know how legendary Terry Funk's career in Japan was. I
Yeah.
mean, that's another thing we need to look at, is the death matches.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, shit. So, I mean, this was a good show. Again, you know what? It's on YouTube. You guys should go watch it. You know, but I was glad to actually do an All Japan Pro Wrestling show.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe at some point we'll do more of these.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, that was a look back at Year Series 2001. And I believe he picked this one.
Yes.
So, before we get into what we're going to do, I'm going to do a little suspense and let's talk about next week. Because I believe it's a double episode.
Yes, next week we have Final Battle and Deadline.
Yeah.
And then 4 days after that is Winter is Coming.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if we, I mean, we may, I don't know. I'm still debating whether we should do those kinds of shows. Like
Right.
Winter's Coming and In Your House shows, because they are fun to do, but they're so short.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
So, now the moment of truth. So, 2001, I figure next year we will continue, look back at Wheels of Fury Year Series, and we will go 1985.
Okay.
And I mean, we've done a lot of 90s shows, we've done 2000s, we haven't really done 2010s.
Yeah,
But I figured, well, hell, we even did ones from like 69 and
yeah, we've done a few from. I believe we've done a few from like the 70s.
yeah, sure this time when we do this decade or this year, I guess. We'll start off with the war to settle the score. It was a few weeks before WrestleMania #1.
Yes.
And then we have AWA Starcade.
Yeah.
And then I gotta figure out this promotion because it just Polynesian Pro Wrestling. The Hot Summer Night.
Polynesian Pro Wrestling. Interesting.
So, yes, look for those
GPW.
next year at some point.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our holiday special coming
Yeah.
up Christmas Eve. This has been a fast fucking year.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, Matt, this is Killer Kyle.
Yeah.
We will talk to you next week. Sayonara.
Peace.